this significant impact that Black people have made in this country and around the world, we encourage you to join in the conversation by adding to our social media, and we will share this as well. So we're gonna introduce everybody. First, we'll go to Mr. Derek Scott, who is with the Democrat Party here and the chair of the Democrat Party in Escambia County. Mr. Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book From the Project to the Boardroom. Jill Daggs, who is with the Okaloosa County Democrat Party, and Christina Forrest in Santa Rosa County. So we're going to get started. Derek, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. How is everybody doing today on this first episode of our wonderful Black History Month? I hope everybody's well. Good. What I will do, we'll go ahead and start with our roundtable and ask of the host if there's anything in particular that we need to know about, talk about, or just for general purposes that our viewing audience needs to know about. And I will start with you, Christina, first.
Hi, thank you so much. It's great to be here today. So in Santa Rosa County, we have a lot going on. For the Women's Club, we have a mother-daughter event coming up on next Saturday. It'll be at the Navarre Library at 10 a.m. They're going to be doing a vision board party. It is open to everybody. You don't have to be a mom. You don't have to bring your kids, but if you'd like to, we have that open and available to you. And it's a way for us to kind of connect with young people and work together to kind of see a future together and make sure that we're opening up those conversations with young people. Super excited about the Santa Rosa Democratic Black Caucus on the 17th. We will be doing a trip to Africatown. And you can go on to our Facebook page and you can register for that. We are going to be going with the Dora Finley African American Heritage Tour. They're actually coming from Mobile to pick us up in Milton. We're going to do a Black History tour of Mobile, Alabama. And then at 1 p.m., we're going to be going to the Heritage House, and then we'll make our way back. And then on March 3rd, the Democratic Black Caucus will be sponsoring a trip leaving out of Pensacola, going to the Jubilee Bridge March. We definitely welcome everybody to come on. This is open to everyone, and we'd love to see some great participation. And again, that's going to be commemorating Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. And again, the bus will be leaving out of Pensacola, heading up to Selma. So thank you for that opportunity, Derek.
Thank you for that, Christina. Next, I will go to our wonderful host extraordinary, Mr. McIntosh. Is there anything that you want to share?
Yeah, just want to share that we have put together the Carol McIntosh Education Initiative plan for District 3. Y'all have to excuse me, I'm just cleaning my throat or something. And this plan include these components: mentoring parents initiative, absenteeism, conflict and resolution, career education, and art enrichment. As you know, that their parents have to be involved in their children's education as much as possible, and we want to help develop that program so that we can get everybody involved in making sure that our children are doing much better in school. As you know, that was one of Kara's crusade, is to make sure that our children have the best quality education they could possibly have. So we calling on all the people that was involved with it, the Progressive Black Women, all the other organizations, to come out on February the 15th at 5 o'clock that evening. And we want to present this initiative to the school board and with the hopes that it passed. We don't see no reason why it shouldn't, but we hope that it pass and make sure that this take place. And then later on, for the 26 year school year, we want to set up a scholarship fund in the name of Carol McIntosh. So we're going to be working on this. And again, we asked everybody to come out. As you know, 7 of the Escambia County schools in our struggling districts, 7 of the schools is struggling. And so we want to make sure that we get them raised up from the bottom 10% up to the top percentage. And that's mean that we all gonna have to be involved in.
You know that. Jill.
Good evening, everyone. I guess I have to ask Derek, do you want us to give, because Christina gave like a whole host of things that are going on. Do you want that, or are we allowed to just talk?
You can talk, whatever you'd like to do, whatever you feel is on your spirit to be led to do, feel free to do so.
Okay. Then I am going to say thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'm super excited to be here today. I know later on we'll be sharing some historical facts on African American and Black people and the things that we did to celebrate this fabulous month that is not, it's a month for everybody else, and it's every day of our life for the rest of us. So we would love for you to join in and share that with us. But I think for me, although Okaloosa, of course, we have the Black Caucus and the Democratic Executive Committee and the Environmental Caucus, and then we also have the NAACP and Blacks in Government, and all of those groups are going to meet this month because they always do, and we invite you to join us for all of that. But I really thought maybe we could do like a mental health check with everybody. It's after the holidays. Things get a little bit difficult for people after everybody goes back to their prospective places, and just to talk maybe a little bit about how we should be checking on our neighbors, checking on our friends, making sure that we don't forget those that are by themselves and seniors. The weather's kind of crazy here, so it's not like up north where Jerry brought all that cold weather back when he came back from Chicago. So it's not like it's freezing, but every once in a while we dip down into the 30s. It rains. And sometimes I think it would just be nice for us to reach out and just say, hey, we haven't seen Vernon in a long time. Vernon, we miss you. It's great to see you. And hopefully that'll lift their spirits up. I just know that sometimes life is difficult. And it's nice to know that you have friends and family that care about you. And to our viewing audience, I guess what I would say is that we all really do care about you. We're not doing this just because we have nothing better to do on Sunday. We do it because we honestly care about you and making sure that you're educated and making sure that you know all of the facts that we can find and that we will learn from you. So I would say, please get on Facebook, call in, make sure that this conversation really is about our voices, not just us as hosts, but you too as the listening audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Our wonderful Mr. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Well, good evening, everybody. So glad to see Reverend Vern back with us. I tell you, man, I sure miss you, man. Boy, these
They've been wearing you out.
Huh?
They've been wearing you out.
They wearing me down. But I've been maintaining, I've been fighting the good fight. I just want to touch base on the 3 American soldiers killed in Jordan and the retaliation strikes that the U.S. is doing on Syria and trying to attack those that attacked us. I got a chance to watch Biden's phone call to one of the soldiers that were, especially the 2 females that were given the sergeant raise posthumously. But to me, there's something in my very soul that that almost dies when a Black soldier dies for what we go through in this country here. It's to me, there's something wrong with it. It doesn't sit well with me that we can't get legislation on the Hill passed for a Justice and Policing Act. We fight day in and day out against a MAGA USA. And for us to go off and die for this, there is something inherently wrong in my soul about this. And it bothers me when any American dies, Black, white, or indifferent. It truly does. But when Black soldiers put themselves in harm's way and actually die for the treatment of the Black man in the United States of America, to me, there's something inherently wrong with it.
So before you go, Derek, let me ask Bill this: do you feel that this war over there is widening?
Well, Biden contends that these strikes, and his hope is that it doesn't. But you're dead on it, Jerry. Of course, it's widening. Striking strategic targets when I don't even know that the intel that we're getting, that we're even striking the right people. So we're headed back. I mean, we go into Afghanistan when he first takes office and says that we don't want to get in, that we've been in a war that isn't ours, and all of these proxy wars that are popping up throughout the world, and the U.S. attempting to police the world and fight for democracy when it is threatened right here at home. Of course, it's widening, and I do not, Jerry, Mr. McIntosh, see any end in sight.
My hope is that they don't end up going in attacking Iran, because that's I mean, we all know what the possibility it could be if we go into Iran, and they are, the so-called chicken hawks who call themselves hawks, but they sit behind armchairs and demand that other people go and die for something that we should have stopped early on. And everybody know what these people are attacking these ships and stuff for. It's a form of protest about what's taking place over there in the Gaza Strip. So it's no doubt in my mind that that the reason we are in that is because of that. And the reason, because before people weren't, none of the other so-called, quote, terrorists was attacking any ships or any merchant ships coming up through the Suez Canal and other places. But now we see what the end results are by us not bringing a halt to this, is what people are calling the genocide.
And then on top of that, Mr. McIntosh, the breakdown in strategic and those that are in charge of stopping missile attacks. This one went under the radar, and we're not hearing anything about those that were responsible for detecting those missiles and stopping that. Jordan is generally a safe place for our troops. We have a strong force in the Middle East, not just in Jordan, but throughout the Middle East. And I see it early on when that thing broke out over there in Israel with Hamas and all, that we have interest in that part of the world. And a big part of it are the goods that come through those shipping. And we think inflation is on the decrease, but you let this continue to go on, because businesses are having to reroute those ships, and that's money, and that's going to guess who will receive the gist of higher costs for those ships having to go out of their way to get those goods here that we so depend on.
Back to you, Derek.
Thank you for that. Mr. Vernon, welcome. I always say welcome back. You've been here, but we haven't seen you physically in in months and Sundays. So literally, so welcome back. Do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back, Derek. I just want to just kind of touch on something that Bill said earlier about the black soldiers being killed. I was really quite surprised to see all of them was black that was killed, you know, and it just, I don't know. I guess I was shocked by that. I didn't have any idea that all of them were going to be. I assumed that maybe one or two of them, one of them, that's what I assumed. But whenever I saw all three of them were black, and considering the treatment that we received, I don't know, Bill, but you know, one of the things, since it is Black History Month, and I guess that's kind of the proper thing to bring up now, is that, and I don't know why we don't get any better treatment than we do, because Christopher Addicks was the very first person of color, very first person, period, that died for this country. Okay, now I heard Jared said jokingly one day, somebody probably pushed him out there. But nevertheless, history will be the same. He was the very first person that gave his life in honor of this country, and for people of color to be treated the way we're treated, even 200 or 300 years later, is unconscionable. And that, and I think that we still see military maybe is one way of trying to make it in America. You know, maybe that patriotic. I don't know, but one of the things I did think about when you said that, when black people giving their lives in the defense of this country, I think it shouldn't be taken lightly. And you know, and to be honest with you, the thought that ran through my mind when they flashed those three black people faces across that stream, and I'll be honest, my thought was, now they're not going to treat it as seriously as they should. You know, when we was talking about the retaliation and the strike, but maybe Biden is on the job. I did have that, and I shouldn't feel that way. You know, it's sad that I have to feel that way in this country when we're involved, that we don't get the same type of treatment. And I really thought that, well, since they're all black, he's not going to really take it as serious now. And so, but that's my thought for it, Bill.
You're completely justified in feeling that way, especially had there been another administration in office. You are absolutely justified in your feeling that way. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one last thing on it, Vern. What bothers me? They still making movies with no black soldiers in it, and it's coming out now. I didn't see one black soldier in it. I was looking at the previews of it, and I'm like, in 2024, it was the same thing when they made all the movies about Vietnam or every, you know, in World War I and World War II, but you never saw any black people in those movies. But we was, you know, 12% of the population and 30% of the casualty in Vietnam. And everywhere we've gone, we've lived and died for this country, but the country has kicked us to the curb. So.
Well, we were never on the curb in this country, Jared, to be kicked to. We were never, ever, we haven't been. That's what's so inherently wrong about this.
All right, Derek, it's better. Can you?
Absolutely. You know, I guess on behalf of all of our hosts, our thoughts and prayers to the families of those three soldiers that were lost, and then our thoughts and prayers are with anybody who is serving abroad and engaging in this conflict. We are, you know, may you be safe as you continue to fight for this nation. It is the United States. So, with that, I guess I'm going to share just a couple of things, you know, in keeping with things that we have ongoing, what I'd like to highlight, and I probably shouldn't because I'll ask Nicole to do so in just a moment. So I'll just talk about our things that we have going on specifically coming up on, for those who are not aware, and Jill's shaking your head, but we're talking about two totally different things. On the Saturday, February the 17th, here in Pensacola, Mr. Larry Williams, board member of the Escambia County, Emerald Coast Utilities Authority, District 3, is putting on his second annual community prayer breakfast. And that's going to be Saturday, February 17th at 9 a.m. at the Wedgwood Community Center, which is at 6405 Wagner Road here in Pensacola, Florida. Tickets are $15 in advance and $20 at the door. If you are interested in getting a ticket, you may call 850-292-7139. Again, that's 850-292-7139. The keynote for that event that's scheduled for the 17th is going to be one of our guest hosts that we have quite frequently, Mr. Omar Neal, former mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama, and host of You Got the Power radio show. So it will definitely be an event to attend. If anybody is interested, you can do so, and I hope to see all of us there in attendance as well. Without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Nicole Dixon. Miss Nicole is the co-founder of Real Women Radio and Real Women Radio Foundation. So I am going to ask her to just share a little bit about Real Women Radio Foundation, and specifically two things: the events that you all are co-sponsoring with Equal Ground on this coming week, as well as the event on the 17th that the Coalition of 100 Black Women are sponsoring. So I'll turn it over to you, Nicole. Thanks and welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I was late, y'all. Great conversation. But thank you, Derek, for the great introduction. So as he said, my name is Nicole Dixon. I'm one of the founders of Real Women Radio Foundation. We're a local nonprofit that we started back in 2018, a group of people in Northwest Florida, a couple of friends of mine. And I like to tell the story that we wanted to find a way to do philanthropic work in our community. Individually, we were all doing it, and we just needed a vehicle to do it. So we started Real Women Radio Foundation. It actually is a nonprofit that I had in my heart. I tried to start in my early 20s. When I tell the story, I tell people is when I knew everything there was about life at 20 years old. So that did not happen. And so 20 years later, the Lord gave it back to me, and maybe I was a little wiser, I don't know. But when we started out with Real Women Radio Foundation, as the leader, I wanted to take on a cause that no one else in our generation was dealing with. And so I decided to do civic engagement from a nonpartisan perspective, and that was called Be the Change Vote. And so we just wanted to enact change within our community. And at the time, I think it was a midterm election going on. So particularly really, really wanted to encourage younger African Americans to vote. And we wanted to do it differently than most people have been doing it, which was through, we call it edutainment. So edutainment is education and entertainment combined and making voting fun. So our first grant, we got it through Vote Together, and we did 27 parties across Northwest Florida. We did a party bus to the polls. I think the Macintoshes was on that, where we hired a DJ and we just had fun. We went, we voted. We did glow parties. We did gaming parties. We just tried to just take the, even though voting is one of the most serious acts in your life that you can do, is one of the serious acts that you could do as an American citizen, it was still something that we just wanted to take the edge off and make it a little fun and a little bit more interesting. Although by itself is very interesting. So I'm not taking that away. But and so we've been doing this work since 2018. We've been doing a ton of voter registration. We're responsible for we have an office here in Pensacola. We have an office in Okaloosa County and Fort Walton Beach. And we're responsible for registering over 15,000 people of color between here and there in the last couple of years. And so we've just been doing a lot of work. We've done election protection. We've done census count work because we want our community to know how important it is to be counted in the census. So we continue to do that work. Thank you. We've done vaccination recruitment, or just basically education. Our organization has taken a stance from a nonpartisan on a lot of those issues is, hey, if you do it, that's fine. If you don't do it, that's fine. That's like, since that's just vaccination. But in voting, it's a matter of, we just want you to have that information and we want you to make an educated decision. It's rooted in what is all that information? What information do you need? And make it based on what is good for you, your life, your community. So as Derek has alluded to, how we got into voter registration and we were able to get it from a funding perspective. Like, I understand that growing up, a lot of people before us did it on a volunteer basis, but the Florida election is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there are people making money off elections, and we don't make any money, but we do receive grants for the work that we do, because we don't want to ask people to go out and register the people vote for 20, 40 hours a week, and they're not getting nothing, which was a continuous job. And we want to make sure that they're paid more than minimum wage. So we've always paid above minimum wage, $15, $20 an hour or above. But how we were able to get into this work on the financial side as an organization was through Jasmine Burnett Clark. She is the founder of Equal. And at the time, she was running State Voices, and she brought us in and she helped us to learn how to make sure that people are paid for this work, because people are making money, right? And so last year, a couple of us went to a day at the Capitol, and it sparked something in me. Derek, you were there, Mr. McIntosh, and it was that Northwest Florida needs to show up. Like, we need a vehicle. We need a voice at the table. Too many times, particularly in the African-American community, we're not present. Nobody knows we're here. Nobody knows we're doing work, because in my opinion, we got the hardest part of the state because it's not many of us over here, but the few that is over here, we are like David fighting giants. And so last year I said, we're going to do a bus in my head. And God was, we were able to be blessed to do a bus. And not only would the bus be a Real Radio Foundation thing, but it would be for all the Davids that are fighting the Goliaths in Northwest Florida. And so that's what the partnership was. It was about all of us coming together. We're not going to be effective in this election if we don't come together as an organization, as leaders, as groups. And so Equal Ground is a perfect group, in my opinion, to partner with. There are so many people we could have partnered with, but Jasmine Burnett Clark, her team, they're professional. They are the Black voices across the state. They represent us well. And the organization is Black-led. It's not just one of those organizations where they have someone in a high position. It is Black-led from the top down. And so those type of things are important to me when you're talking about leading and impacting and influencing our community, because a lot of times people will hire people that look like us who have no influence or no real impact on the organization. So I'm super excited about this week. I'm very honored that each organization took the time to partner with us. We don't take that lightly. To align yourself with other organizations is a real trust, and it's a real commitment to, wanting our voices to be heard.
So, Nicole, what time are you leaving the bus? What time do the bus leave, and where do it leave from?
Yes, sir. That's a good question. So we're leaving at 4 a.m. so we can get there around 8 to Tallahassee around 8. Tallahassee is a whole hour ahead of us. So that's still 5 o'clock. And thanks to Jill and Derek, they was like, we need another stop. We need to think about those people in Walton County. And so we do have another stop around, I think we said 5. I think it's what I said, 4:45, 5 o'clock. And that's at the Love's gas station on exit 71, Jill?
70.
70, I'm sorry. Y'all better get that because I'm terrible with directions. But exit 70, and so we're gonna be there at 5 o'clock. Well, we said 4:45, depending on how fast the bus driver leaving. But about 5:30, we'll pull out, and then we should get to Tallahassee around 8:30.
And for those listening, I just want to make clear, please, this is a great opportunity, and we're thankful for Nicole for doing this. But if you're in the sound of our voice and you want to come, it is unfortunately too late for this year. But this is something that hopefully, as we continue to build upon, you'll know about it and you'll keep it in mind for next year. So I don't want anybody showing up at exit 70 like, here I am, and then having to go back to sleep, from that standpoint. But we thank you for that.
Yeah, Derek, and I just want to say that's an testament to our community. That bus filled up like that, and that's a testament to people wanting their voices to be heard, and they want to advocate. I had a couple people call me; they were non-Black, and I was just like, I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your willingness, but this particular opportunity is specifically catering to Black voices, and then you are more than welcome to come and support. But the bus rides, the things of that nature, but they had another issue. It wasn't that they were white; it was just that they had another issue that they want to advocate for. And I was just like, and which will be other people advocating for other issues there. We're just asking that we just save all those seats for people who want to advocate for Black people in Northwest, Black voices in this particular issue, because you'll have the abortion hearing that day, so the Capitol will be full of that, with those people who are for or against it. And then you also have people with disabilities. That's one of their advocacy days, and so you will have other voices there. But this particular bus, this particular time, this group, we really advocated for Black voices. Not that those other voices don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. But, you just got to kind of keep yourself centered and focused and really honed in on what you came to do for today.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Nicole. Say if for instance, if someone decided that they wanted to drive down, not necessarily drive the bus, is it too late for them to get with Equal Ground there in Tallahassee? Do you know?
So I would say the answer is no, but we cannot promise you lunch because we're providing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we were trying to prepay and pre-provide those lunches and dinners. So that's the only thing. We would love to have anyone else come along. It's just that we just can't promise the breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And one last thing.
Great question.
I missed where you said the bus was leaving from here in Pensacola.
Oh, I did not say it, Mr. McIntosh. Thank you. But we're leaving from Real Women Radio office located at 3499 North Davis Highway. So we're right there where Davis Highway splits into Alkanese and Davis Highway. But I will give my cell phone number. So if anybody have any questions, anybody have any concerns, if you oversleep and you're only 5 or 10 minutes off, you can text us. We'll try our best to hold the bus up. I can't make no promises, but but we, if because listen, I might be over. I just want to tell you all now. I just gonna throw my hand up because 4 o'clock in the morning is pretty early for me. But we're gonna have some coffee from Black Cafe and Bookstore.
That's good. Yeah, it is quite early.
Yeah.
It is quite early, but for those who are watching, certainly if you're signed up and you've got an email, a confirmation email, and if you can pick one of the two stops, either just Scambia at Real Women Radio or exit 70 at the Love's gas station right off of I-10. Those are the two stops, and certainly it's an impactful day. one, two, three, four of us. So Jill, Mr. McIntosh, Nicole, and I will be there and present and looking for a great time. You know, last time, and more importantly, an informative time. Last year, they tried to do us dirty, not equal ground, but the Florida legislatures, and they took all the bills that they were going to hear that were focused and centered around Black folks and said, "Oh no, we're going to postpone it a week," because I guess they thought that there were going to be too many Black folks in attendance. So they pushed us out this week. So I'm looking forward to redemption and hearing what they're going to say, and then you know, making our voices heard. So I know I'll speak on behalf of the Panhandle Coalition. We thank you for the opportunity to partner, and looking forward to a successful trip to Tallahassee. The only other thing I wanted you to, I don't know if you have any details that you could expound upon, is I know and I asked because you're a member of the Coalition for 100 Black Women. I understand that they're doing a commemorative march on Washington, I believe on the 17th. Can you share a little bit about that for those who might be interested in attending?
Yes, thank you, Derek. So yes, I am a part of the Honorable 100 National Coalition of NCBW, National Black Women's 100 Black Women, basically, y'all. I'm sorry. So in March 17th, so what we have is a week that we have gotten a proclamation from the city of Pensacola as Women of Excellence Week. And it's this is to just talk about the impact that Black women have on our country, or even specifically Northwest Florida, right? Pensacola. And so on March 17th, we are going to do it's the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington this year. And so we're going to do a reenactment of it. And we actually have a gentleman, or a local pastor, who's going to be Martin Luther King, is going to redo the MLK speech. And we're going to march from the MLK Plaza down to City Hall. It is a peaceful way. It is a way for us to pay homage to the people that have marched and who have been a voice for Black people. So it's not just for women. We're just highlighting this committee. The Women of Excellence Committee decided to do that because advocacy in the 100 Black Women is one of our primary points. It's one of the most important things that we do as members of the organization. And we thought that the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington is a great way to pay homage to that. And so we're inviting other organizations to partner with us again. The website, I'll put it in the chat, is WOE as in Women of Excellence. So it's WOEpensacola.com. And you can sign up to become a partner just like you did on the bus with us. And basically the partnership is saying, hey, we stand with you all. We'll support this group. I mean, this event. It's a free event. So that's what support means. We're just trying to get as many people out there. And again, it's about like, what does it mean to advocate? Because we have to do a better job, not that we haven't been doing it, of advocating for ourselves in Northwest Florida. So we hope that you all can do it. And I'll put the website in the chat also.
Thank you for that. Does any of our hosts or anybody have any additional questions, comments, or follow-ups? Or Nicole, I see that she's in the car, so I don't want to keep her, belabor her.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole, for taking time out this evening to join us. I personally want to say my hat is off to you and all that you guys do over there at RWR, Real Women Radio. To see you active and on the job and not just talking about it, but being about it is very impressive. I've always admired you from afar, and I just want to say thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Same to you. Like, you know, I have my part. You all have your part. You know, I've watched most of you all in our community. You all have inspired us. You have been our voices before we had voices. So definitely, you know, the same goes for me. Like, I remember being a young person. I know I say that like I'm an old lady now, but you know, I can remember Movement for Change and seeing Mr. Boyd on the television. Mr. Snow, I've heard you on Mr. Hill for forever. I mean, and Derek, the impact that he has just made the short time that I don't know if you are from Escambia County, but I mean, you really have just came and just worked. Jill, it's been a pleasure knowing you. I mean, all of you all. And of course, Mr. Watson, I found out the other day he hurt my feelings. I thought I was the only person he called sugar, but I found out that he called everybody sugar.
Gotta tell you, you got to listen careful about it. It ain't the same sugar for everybody, okay? It could be spelled and pronounced a little bit differently. Your sugar is unique to you, okay? Okay, sugar?
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question just so that everybody in our audience can know, because I know I get the question often. And when I talk about Real Women Radio, how can they tune in or hear, what's going on? And if they wanted to, listen from a broadcast standpoint, how do they access or find it?
Thank you, Derek. That is a great question. We have 3 ways that you can listen. So if you have an Apple phone, you could download the RWR Live 365 app in the Apple Play Store, just like you would the Twitter app, the Facebook app. And then you can also, if you have a Google phone, you can download it in the Google store. It's under Real Women Radio in the Apple store, because it's been an issue. We switched over, and it's RWR Live in the Google store, which I put all this in the chat. And then you can always just go to our website, which is rwrlive365.com, and you can listen there. And any of you and all of you are always welcome. We worked with Vernon on a TV show. Hope to revisit that again. But you are always welcome. You always have a home. You always have a voice at Real Women Radio. As I was listening to you today, I was like, I wonder if I could get the audio for these shows and replay them. But we'll have to talk about that offline.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can get them if you can get the audio if you want to. Just let me know. We can convert it to an MP3 if you wanted to do that. But also,
I would love to do that.
Okay? Well, just for the asking of it.
Okay.
But by the way, now they could also get Real Women Live on my app if I can get the.
Yes.
If you can give me that link again, I got it set up. But I just don't have your link directly. We get that link, and then you can get it there as well.
You'll get the link tomorrow, Mr. Watson, I promise.
Okay, now. Okay, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Well, certainly, I think if there's nobody else, I'll say we appreciate you spending time. You're welcome to stay with us. You look a little fancy, so I didn't know if you had someplace to go. But
yes,
you're more than
I
welcome
do.
you're more than welcome to join us, but we appreciate the time, and we look forward to seeing you not at 4:00, but at 8:00 or sometime when we wake up in the morning in Tallahassee. So best of luck and talk to you soon.
Thank you all. I appreciate you all. And next time I'm invited to the show, I won't double book myself so I can stay, because I would love to indulge in this great conversation. I like to argue a little bit.
We love it.
I would love to. And then I'm hoping I get that audio so I can listen. But thank you for everything you're doing. And I appreciate you all for inviting me on.
No problem. Thank you. And it's on your Facebook. I tagged you on the Facebook link, so you can always put it there too as well. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, no
Have
problem.
a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Bye.
Hi.
You're watching our Voices, the People's Media tonight. You can catch us on WBQP TV, 12.1, Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, of course on my website, webpage, and here on Facebook. Derek.
Thank you for that. We always appreciate Nicole giving us a few moments of her time to share, and I think we're looking forward. I know we're all looking forward to Tuesday, and we'll have some great feedback or report to give you guys when we come back not next Sunday, but Sunday after next. So as we move on, what I'd like to then do is let's focus on the Black History Month facts of our portion of our discussion this evening. And I think each one of us have been, yes.
We've been preempted by the Super Bowl.
Next Sunday? Tonight?
No, next Sunday.
Oh,
Next
Jerry,
week.
that's
yeah.
Jerry's thing. Jerry, Mr.
There, Mr.
McIntosh.
McIntosh.
I mean, you know, we were thinking that it's probably going to be, you know, people going to be watching and, you know, watching the games and
Yeah.
having parties and stuff. We didn't want to interfere in that and just, you know, just we want them to go ahead so then we can talk about the Super Bowl, or have them to talk about the Super Bowl afterward, I
Okay.
guess.
All
I know
right,
Bill.
no problem. I can have
with you.
an encore show. I can have an encore show prepared just in case for those folks that not looking at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
So-
Okay, Derek. That's what I
well,
wanna know.
with you, Bill.
Say what now?
Preempting the Super Bowl, preempting us. I say, I know that don't sit well with you.
No, man. I understand. I mean, shucks, last year we did it during the Super Bowl, and Vernon told people that the Super Bowl's on. Everybody left us and went to watch the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah.
so I understand, brother. Trust you me.
All right. Let's not just suffer the loss of where everybody tunes out and go to the other station. So as we said, so for those in the audience, we won't be on next Sunday again, just so you heard it here, but we'll make sure maybe Mr. Vernon can replay the show from last week when we had Representative Fentress Driscoll, because that was a lot of information. It was a great show. For those who did not get a chance to see it, maybe it's a great one to revisit for during our off time.
Okay, you say you wanted to play last week's show.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So I can
Yeah.
know. Thank you for that. So I know. Great.
No problem. So if we move on to our Black History facts, in this period, just as Mr. McIntosh shared with everybody, for the month of February, we are going to be talking about little known Black History facts. So each one of the panelists have been tasked with sharing a fact that they have found out or they thought would be interesting to share with our viewing audience. And so we're going to enter that segment at this point in time. And with that, I will start it off with Mr. McIntosh and then go to Joe.
Thanks, Derek. I was gonna talk about the inventions, but I think I'm gonna do that later for the next one. But I wanted to talk about some people that's doing things today, and that's LaTosha Brown and Cliff Albright with Black Voters Matter Fund, and they raise funds to help organizations all over the country. Organization that's already on the ground. They don't try to tell them how to do what they just say continue to do. We'll help you. We'll help raise funds to do that, and they have done it with churches, preachers, and I mean, if different organizations all over the country, and that is it's amazing at what they are doing to help these organizations. And our organization was one of the recipients of a grant from Black Voters Matter few times. We haven't done it this year, but hopefully in coming up, we will, get a grant again from them. But it has been really helpful to most of the organizations all of the organizations rather that partner with Black Voters Matter and making sure that, they are registering people, they are working on the ground, they are helping to defeat some of the most draconian people that are running for office in this time. So I wanted to give them a shout out, LaTosha Brown and Cliff Albright, who both are co-founders of Black Voters Matter, and the work that they are doing, not just with Black Voters Matter, but what they do around the country and traveling throughout the world to help organize people even overseas. So it is awesome to me what they are doing. I just wanted to focus on somebody that's still alive, but and still doing things, but also we'll look back and focus on the ones that have fought and passed on. That's my Black History moment.
Thank you for that. I am going to move on to our wonderful Julia instead.
Okay, so Jerry, you inspired me to change, but I'm going to go over what I have. But if we are thinking about organizations that are doing powerful, impactful things for Black people, I think we would be remiss if we didn't just go off of what Nicole just shared, that Equal Ground under Jasmine Burney Clark, Justin Jones, Pastor Marcus, and Genesis. They are phenomenally powerful. They are down to earth. What I really like about the organization, they are, as she said, they are well known throughout Florida. And as we know, the NAACP is out there, we know Movement for Change is out there, we know the Black Caucus is out there. But when it comes to the neutrality of political work for Black people, Equal Ground is known across the state and across the country, really. They are about to celebrate, I believe in May, 5 years. All of them right now are under 40. They're hard workers, they care. And what I really like is that they come back afterwards and they give you everything they did, but they do it in layman's terms. So if you are somebody who really doesn't understand what's going on in the political realm, the legislation, all of that, they break it down so you can understand it. And if you're somebody who's been there for a while and understand, they even have a separate section for you and they split it up. They just really, they work hard and they care. And every year they get better. We went with them last year, and I'm a logistics person, so everything with me has to be like super organized. And I kept saying, your logistics is phenomenal. Your logistics is phenomenal. So they get it. They get every part of it. And so to them, for all that they have done for us and all that they continue to do, I absolutely want to celebrate them in 2024. Thank you for not forgetting the Panhandle, for your work across the state, and for everything that you do. We wish you the best. And we know that there will be phenomenal things coming from that group of young people. But what I really had, that was inspired by Jerry, Mr. McIntosh. What I really had is I was kind of thinking, I always like to find things that maybe relate to some people. And so if you know me, I'm like OCD. So I have to have everything in order, everything clean. And so my person that I'm going to talk about is George T. Sampson, and he created the clothes dryer. So, and the reason he did it was back in he was a slave, and they had to dry their clothes over the fire pit. And so you had two things: either your clothes smelled like smoke or they got caught on fire. So he created the clothes dryer so they didn't have to do that. And it was used up until the 1940s. And then they created, of course, the gas and electric clothes dryer that we have now. But besides that, he also created the wheel on a tricycle sled so that the sled could go through the snow. And then I will share what, Derek, why are you looking like that? That's what he created.
Oh, no, I wasn't looking at you like that.
What he created and why.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
The other thing I'm going to share is that when I was looking up George T. Sampson, who created the clothes dryer, I then ran across Henry T. Sampson, who did the cell phone. So I was like, wow, you want so much information out there. And I know a lot of people, we give him credit for the cell phone. He will tell you, these are his own words, that he did not create the cell phone, but he did create the device utilized by Motorola so that they could have the cell phone. But what he was also was the first African-American student to ever earn a PhD in nuclear engineering in the United States. And he earned that from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in 1967. That's what I'm sharing with you today.
Thank you for that. I'm actually just going to go in order. Well, I'll go last. I'll go in the order of my screen. So I'll go with Mr. Bill. What do you have for us?
Well, I'd like to pay homage to the late Nelson Mandela of South Africa, leader of the ANC African National Congress, who spent 27 years in prison and emerged in strong body, mind, and soul to lead the South Africa, rose to the highest office in the land. I think 27 years of a man's life being robbed. And he could have gotten out of prison years earlier had he just denounced the ANC and the apartheid system, but he plumb refused. And in 1994, being released from prison and to become the president of South Africa is quite remarkable. I remember an interview on Nightline when Ted Koppel asked him about Libya and Muammar Gaddafi, and he paralyzed Ted Koppel with the statement that America thinks that their enemies should be their enemies, and that was just not the case. And his intellect, his poise, his brilliance, I will always admire Nelson Mandela.
Thank you for that. Christina?
Hi, thank you. Mr. McIntosh, like Jill, you caused me to go back and really think. And so like Jill, I will go through, and what I would say for the group that is really impacting, that is still doing the work on the ground right now, is Stacey Abrams founded the organization called Fair Fight back in 2018. Fair Fight focuses on promoting fair elections, combating voter suppression. The organization is dedicated to ensuring that every eligible voter has the opportunity to vote and that their votes are counted. And so I really believe Fair Fight is part of the reason why Reverend Warnock was elected. It's why their political landscape changed in addition to Black Voters Matter. I really think the two of them have just really changed the landscape. And so I'm very grateful to Fair Fight. The person who I was going to highlight was Fannie Lou Hamer. She is one of my sheroes. I absolutely adore Fannie Lou Hamer's spirit, her fight. She was always fighting for what was right. And even through the horrors that she experienced, she still had kindness and love for people. And I know for myself, that's something I actually struggle with quite a bit. She was a prominent civil rights activist, dedicated for life to fighting for voting rights, racial equity. Born in Mississippi in 1917, she co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and played a pivotal role in challenging the exclusion of African Americans from the political process. Through her speeches and testimony, she shed light on injustices faced by African Americans, drawing national attention to the brutality of racial violence and discrimination. Her tireless efforts helped pave the way for the Voting Rights Act of '65, which aimed to eliminate racial barriers to voting. She also talked about things she went through herself, including forced sterilization. She used the term a Mississippi appendectomy. She went in to have a uterine fibroid removed without her consent, without asking her. The doctors gave her a total hysterectomy. And that was part of the forced sterilization that they were doing across this nation. And so on Black women. And so she highlighted it, she spoke about it, what happened to her, and when she was jailed for simply trying to register to vote, what she talked about at the national stage was just absolutely horrific what she went through. And so she is just somebody who always stood out to me.
Jailed and beaten.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Christina. Mr. Vernon, do you have anybody that or anything that you would like to highlight in the
Yeah,
Black History Month?
yeah, since I missed class and I didn't get the assignment, but I think I think since it is Black History, and I think it's so important that we recognize Black history, if you will, because if things continue to go the way it's going, they're going to try to cancel Black history. Okay, so we got to make sure that is not going to happen. But the person I want to focus on, the reason, the man that is the reason that we have Black history, and that was Dr. Carter G. Woodson. He was the first person to start any significant studies on Negro histories and studies. He did that back in 1915. And another fact about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, we call him the father of Black history, okay, because he made, not when he started studying Black history back in started the studies and so forth, and wrote papers and had a society on it back in 1915. So he created Black History Week in 1926 for us to have an opportunity to study about ourselves, and that was probably one of the most significant things that I know that could have been done, because the people without their history, and you know what they say, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. But more than that, we didn't know a lot about our culture, our history, our heritage, or anything. So thanks to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, we were focused on it. Not only that, another important point is that in 1974, I believe it was, Black history was expanded to Black History Month, from a week to a month, and I think Gerald Ford signed that into effect back then. Another significant fact about this is Dr. Carter G. Woodson was the second Black man to graduate from Harvard University. Okay, second Black man. Y'all know who the first one was?
I don't know.
You don't know? Anybody know? W.E.D. Du Bois.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I knew that.
Yeah. He's the first person to graduate from Harvard University, and that is, he's very significant in his own right. Sometimes I kind of, when you read the studies about Dr. Du Bois, and also he had one of the things, he created this thing called the Niagara Movement, okay? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that he became famous for, if you will, is this, what they call the Atlanta debate, something like that, when he and Booker T. Washington was somewhat adversaries. Now, I liken that to the fact that they wasn't enemies or anything like that. They just had a different approach on how do we do things. Being Dr. W. Du Bois was a Harvard graduate, so he focused everything on academics. Well, Booker T. Washington graduated from Hampton, what is Hampton University now, but was called Hampton Agriculture, Hampton something else. So he became the first president of, Tuskegee Institute. And the philosophy was then, his philosophy was that how we can achieve equality was through, Booker T. Washington concept was through vocational skills, where W. Du Bois focuses more on more academic skills. So they would oppose each other, and kind of reminded me of the difference in philosophies, like with Malcolm X and Dr. King. Dr. King believed in nonviolent movement. Malcolm X not so much as that, So, but we always have these great movements, and if you read, it's so much history that if you don't know, it's just great things that impact us every day. And the more I read about stuff, and I read about a lot of stuff, and the reason we have air conditioning today is because of a black person. Like you say, the cell phone, electricity, you know, the man that invented the filament into the light bulb that made it possible for
Lewis
uh,
Lyman, Edison.
yeah, but Ellison to do what he done. So it's
Right.
so much history. And the thing that I joke about this one a lot. You know, the man the man that invented the golf tee was a
Yeah.
black man. You know,
Mm,
and I often say that, and a lot of these, what they say, invention come out of is the mother of necessity. What is that saying about that?
right.
And I joke about this about the golf tee because I know that white people had black folks as caddies, and they probably put the ball on the black man's fist,
Yeah.
and and so he had to find a way of making sure that that ball can be set up without getting his fist beat up. And you know the old joke about the ants, right? About when before they invented the golf tee, they used to set the golf balls on top of an anthill, right? And then they come in and try to hit the ball, and one ant told the other ant, "Man, if you want to survive this, you better get on the ball, because he hitting everything but the balls." So, but the black man is responsible for the black. But anyway, a lot of inventions, and I'm being serious now, that I think we should take the time to learn about our history and American history. American history is black history, because without this country, it wouldn't be the country it is today without black folks. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you, man. I just want to be clear. You were joking when you said that white golfers used to hit the ball off of black tees, fist of black tees, correct?
I don't know that for a fact, but I can
Oh,
probably
okay.
picture. I'm presuming that.
Just when I was like, what?
Yeah,
That
I'm
really
not
happened?
sure, but
Oh,
but I
okay.
can. If you do some further history on that, I bet you that's probably the case. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I just joke about that.
Okay, I was like, is that real?
Now
Just
wait,
making
but that's
sure.
not too far fetched. Now,
No, I mean, it's not.
Talk to Jerry. If they used to use, what they say they should use black babies to fetch alligators, why
Right.
they wouldn't do that in the
Right.
garden? Say, you know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, at first, when I first heard that, I thought somebody was lying that said they were using babies for alligator bait. And then I went back and did some research on it, and come to find out it was true. And I mean, when the atrociousness of it was just absolutely mind-boggling, that you could use a baby and throw him in the water or put something around it and let the alligator bite him, and you snatch an alligator in with a baby in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But go ahead, Derek.
Well, certainly not for the spirit, I was going to say, for the spirit of copying, since some of my co-hosts have decided to highlight organizations as well in the vein of our Black History Month. In fact, I'm going to amend mine to do two. And we've talked about Equal Ground and Black Voters Matter and all of the other organizations that are doing phenomenal work here in our great state and our great nation. But I think we would be remiss without acknowledging the oldest of all of our civil rights organizations, which is the NAACP. And I'll start with that the fact that the founding of the NAACP coincides with Black History Month. On February 12th of this year, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP, as we affectionately know it as, will celebrate its 115th birthday. The date of February 12th, 1909 was chosen for NAACP's inception because it also marks the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln and coincides with abolitionist Frederick Douglass's birthday on February 14th. As one of the most interesting Black history facts, the NAACP is America's oldest civil rights organization, as well as its largest. So happy early birthday to the NAACP. or Happy Founders Day, I should say. Now, I'm going to veer from a person of highlight or noteworthiness, and I'm going to talk about a town. And that is a town that many of us don't know about, and that's called Fort Mose. And it is an important town in Black history, and particularly here in the state of Florida. Of all the cities that you learn about in school that no longer exist, Fort Mose is probably one of the most important. More than 250 years ago, when people had escaped their enslavement, people who had escaped their enslavement, I should say, made their way to St. Augustine, Florida. They were welcomed by the Spanish, who valued their skills and contributions, as they say so. In 1738, the governor established the town that went on to become known as Fort Mose. It was officially sanctioned as a town for free, it was first officially sanctioned town for freed Black men, and now what is the United States, with a population of about 100. In 1763, the fort was ceded to the British under the Treaty of Paris, and the freed Black residents were evacuated to Cuba with the Spanish. The British then destroyed the site during the War of 1812, and today it sits as a historic state park, making it one of the wonderful American landmarks that celebrate Black culture. So here is to the town formerly known as Fort Mose.
There, we have a call on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Jared. Hey, thanks for having me on. I was just listening. That's a lot of good stuff y'all are sharing. Keep up the great work. Really enlighten the community. And I'm Ben in Washington. I just wanted to say that we kind of need some help if we possibly could. We're trying to encourage people to come out to the city council meeting on February the 8th. That's this Thursday, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And what we're doing, we're trying to save Malcolm Young Gym. You know, our nonprofit deal with at-risk kids in the underserved community, and we do academic tutorial, basketball, art, field trips, college visits, things of that nature. And unfortunately, it's not enough gym space here for the kids of Escambia County, especially the kids in the at-risk community. And they want to tear Malcolm Young down, demolish it, and make it affordable housing, which the affordable housing is not affordable for most people that I know. Right. And so we trying to encourage everyone to come out that can and will to see if we can at least get the mayor to understand the city council to kind of change their ideas to fix the center or either sell the center to us, to our organization, so we can run programs for kids. Right now, we have 9 teams. In order to play on our team, you have to have a 2.5 grade point average, or you're required to go to mandatory tutoring. But the thing about it, we don't have enough basketball gyms, rather. And playing outside in the wintertime, it gets dark early, it's cold, so you can't have the kids out there. And that in summertime, it's kind of like the rainy season, the hurricanes, tropical storms. We just need a safe place for our kids. And it just appears since, the gym's 60-some years old. And I think it's kind of sad that Pensacola haven't done anything to spend money for our youth. 60-some years, we don't have a new gym. And we go to these different cities and our kids travel and play. And we see these nice facilities, something that make the kids, you just provide an opportunity for the kids to stay out of trouble. And it's more like crime prevention, because you're giving those kids something to do after school between 4 and 8:30. They have done their homework, they've gotten a snack, they've gone to practice and got a good workout, and they're not, hanging out in the streets, getting involved in so many different things. And with all the stuff that's going on with the numbers of fights that's going on at these schools now, high schools, middle school. You can see that also we don't have health care because Baptist Hospital has been moved out of the community, and a lot of people think it's not a big deal, but there are a lot of people in that area that do not have transportation to get back and forth to the hospital, and especially a lot of seniors. So there's a lot of different things affecting our community. Of course, you know, they've closed down all the black schools with all the black role models, and that's the biggest thing. We need schools in our community. They're busting our kids all over the place. They need a school in the community they can be proud of. And you look at J. Lee Pickens, you can look at Brown Boys, and I can go on and on. Gibson just closed. There's so many schools that were in our communities back in the day when we were coming up. And that was a place of respect. That's a place of higher learning, of discipline, a place of education. And, you know, you had a relationship with the teachers because it was in your community. And once they closed those schools down, you know, the land depreciate, crime move in, you know, then you got gentrification going on, they're buying up everything. I don't know, it just seems like it's a lot going on, but nobody not saying anything. And our kids are being, you know, that prison industrial complex is a real thing. And a lot of it's going straight from the schoolhouse to the jailhouse. That is actually real. And it's affecting the black and brown kids more so with, and poor kids, poor white kids. And I just would like to see if we can try to save this gym. It's a historic gym. These things were put together, Carr Center, Perkins Center, Malcolm Young, back in the 60s, before integration. So that our kids will have a place, a safe place to play and, you know, and stay out of trouble and something more positive. And it's not happening. And, you know, and the school system is inadequate. It's just a lot going on. It's just a lot going on. And we would like to try to stay this gym to utilize it for our kids and other programs.
Yeah, Benny, let me ask you this. What was the reason they said that they were closing Malcolm Young?
Well, they said that the building was, it was condemned and that it wasn't in condition to be utilized. And Lighthouse Schools in there, so they ended up getting out of there. But you know, I kind of feel like there's something hidden behind it because that gym is not as bad as they say it is. Mm-hmm. In my opinion. And, you know, it just seems like, you know, they just want to get rid of it and make it a housing. That's never happened. Or you take something under Parks and Recreation. Right now, they voted to demolish it. It's still under Parks and Recreation. Now, they could rebuild a new gym now, which would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, if they go ahead on with the programs to do the, I guess, affordable housing, which is not going to take care of, you know, a lot of stuff they talking about is supposed to help with the homelessness in the Pensacola, Escambia County. And it's not. A lot of the homeless stuff is attributed to, they closed down Escambia Arms and they never built another, you know, low-income housing, something that these people that's homeless that probably could afford. And they closed down the Aragon Court and they built those nice homes over there. They never rebuilt another low-income housing space to replace that either. So now, you know, we got a homeless problem. Kids are being criminalized. It's because they don't have nothing else to do. Myself, I was raised up on Miller Street in Aviation Field. And it was a different, the community, Washington High was there, Washington Junior College was there, Brown Boys was there, the band came through the community. We went to the game, you know, in the summertime, you went to Brown Boys, you did arts, crafts, dominoes, checkers, chess, films, field trips. Or you go to Washington High School and play ball all summer. Or you can go to the other end with the Summer Ground Grand Hotel. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, drugs, prostitution, all type of criminal activities. However, when they closed Washington High School, now it's the Hall Center over there, and Brown Boys, the community collapsed tremendously. There's nothing for those kids to do but get in trouble. And so without providing positive programs and positive activities for these kids, until we do that, we're going to continue to get the shooting, the fighting, you know, the gunplay, all the things that's going on with kids who are just really looking for something to do and give them something positive to do. And if it's, you know, the main goal is to help them to graduate from high school, to increase graduation rate. And I'm talking about graduation, not that certificate of completion where you go to school and they give you that certificate, but it's not actually a high school diploma. And also to eliminate crime and criminal behavior among at-risk youth. And if we don't provide these positive programs, we're going to lose. We're losing them now. We'll lose. It's getting in the fourth quarter. It's getting bad. But we can always make a comeback. And I think David Malcolm Young Jim are providing a positive space for the kids and working together with the city, the county, the sheriff, the police, community individuals to come in. And a lot of people scared of these kids. And you know, it's just my take. They're afraid of them. But when you sit down and talk to these kids, a lot of them are extremely smart. They just don't have no guidance in no direction. We was given guidance and direction when we was coming up. And it's terribly missing.
Right.
So
now let me ask you this. Benny, what time do people need to be there at the city hall?
5:30.
5:30. And tell them what they need to do. Go ahead.
Well, it's located 222 Main Street, Pensacola, Florida. The main thing is just come in and be supportive. If you feel like you want to speak to the issue, I mean, feel free. You have about 3 minutes. You know, but just to show that we support and that we want to keep this space, and they really need it. This building is 60-some years old. The same thing with Carl Center and Ferguson.
Right.
You know, they need to build a new facility in our community, but you got the Victory Center out there. You know, that's a newer facility. They spend more money in that facility. And the kids in town don't really go to the Victory Center. It's kind of like it's set up for the more affluent kids. The community out on Scenic Highway and Scenic Heights and Northeast Pensacola, well, whatever. You know, I mean, anybody can go. Don't cost a little more, but so it's just it's a need. It's not a want for our kids. It's not, you know, it's just gonna get progressively worse.
Benny, I can see where big developers can come in and influence the mayor and those that has the power to do something about it. We've got Keontae Humphreys on our Facebook stream says that if the city is exploring HUD funds to bring in affordable housing, then you can advocate for a recreational component to be included in the new site. You can ask the city to provide you the pro forma for the new housing complex that should detail the cost of rehabilitation and demolition.
Did you get that, Benny?
Yeah. Well, we haven't really gotten a thorough assessment of what's really wrong with the building. You know, there's some things on the outside I see with the beams that need to be done, but that's an easy fix. Carl Center kind of got the same thing and it's still functioning.
I can tell you what's wrong with it.
The information that he asked about has not been provided. It's almost like it's kind of rushed the deal through. We've been going down there since October. It is November, December, it's February, I'm sorry. So this is going to be the last opportunity. You know, I think they're going to demolish it. I just hope they keep it on the park and recreation and build another gym or don't and sell it to us as is. Our organization, you know, we'll come up with the funding, the purchases and run programs and kind of keep it going because I was one of those kids that played in that gym. And it did wonders for me and my brothers and sisters and all the kids on my generation came through there. And all of us turned out, you know, I think we did very well for ourselves overall, you know, and these kids coming in now is not having that same neighborhood school teaching where you got teachers the teachers know my mom. So, the teachers in the neighborhood, they know. You come in there and tell your mom, we got mixed at school, and they tell your parents you get another one. But if I got a lick at school, one time I got licked at school, and I told them, whatever two things not gonna happen, okay? I'm not gonna get suspended, and you're not gonna tell my mom. Now, whatever you want to do, we're gonna do it. You take the licks, I'm gonna clean the cafeteria, take the trash out, wipe the table down, 2 weeks or whatever. I just want you to know, I can't get suspended. You can't tell my mom. Because they know. And so it's just kind of, I don't know. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of changes. The demographics is changing in the community. And it's just the funding, the appropriation of funds need to be distributed out throughout Pensacola and Escambia County for all of its citizens, all of its students, all of its kids. And that's it. But yeah, those things that you mentioned, that information has not been provided.
All right, then, Benny, we will, I'll be there. Anyway, we'll try to get many people as possible to get to the city council meeting on Thursday.
We greatly appreciate it, Jerry. Continue doing what you're doing, and I just want you to know I'm grieving for you. I know Carol gone, man. I feel bad. I'm not trying to, just God bless you and strengthen you and keep you. And every day it's gonna get a little better, but it's not gonna always be gone. I've gone through it, but keep your head up, man. We love you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. Just want you to know that.
All right. Thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
And for those who are watching, we appreciate Mr. Washington calling in. Certainly, we are asking for as many people to come, but as those who can speak to the issue or just voice their support can do so. When you get to the city hall meeting, you can just fill out a form in the back of the room. As Mr. Washington said, they get about 3 minutes to speak, and just let them know that you're there to voice your support for the future of Malcolm Young Gym. Additionally, there is a petition that is going around on change.org. If you are watching it, if you go to change.org, you can search for the petition. It says, "Prevent the demolition of Malcolm Young Gym in Pensacola." Or if you are watching us through the Facebook live feed, I have placed that link in our chat there. But again, so make your presence known and make your voice heard. And lastly, I would say to that is that there are members of the city council that currently sit that I would encourage those people to reach out to. If you don't know who they are, I will tell you. We have, for our city council members, we have City Council Member Charles Baer. There's Council Member Jared Moore. There's Council Members Tania Day Broughton. There's Council Member Jennifer Brayer. Council Member Casey Jones. Council Member Delarian Wiggins. And Council Member Allison Patton. And more importantly, you can reach out to the mayor of Pensacola, DC Reeves, and express your voice, your concern, and your support to save Malcolm Young Gym. I think to the point that Mr. Washington was making, they want to put it and replace it with quote unquote affordable housing. Now I don't know what affordable housing falls with a $350,000 price tag, but that's what's going on, because that's where the direction of all the new houses in the city of Pensacola's city limits look, their price tag look. So if that's affordable to you, then kudos, but it certainly is not affordable to most of the masses here in our great county. So we would ask that you make sure that you express your support by showing up, filling out the petition, speaking, one of the above, some of the above, or all of it. So thank you, Mr. Washington, for calling in for that.
Yeah, and affordable housing. That's a great guise to take properties such as the Malcolm Young Center. Brother Washington said that he don't quite see what's wrong with the building. I see what's wrong with it. It's the big developers that want the property. That's what's wrong with it. But that link that you put in the Facebook stream, Derek, I just went to it and signed the petition. 3 clicks. Auto-filled my name and hit I signed the petition. It's very simple. So if you're watching us on our Facebook stream, maybe not as we're doing it live, just later on, go to that link and sign that petition. And Brother Benny, I might not be there at 5:30, but I am going to get in there before 7 and support this. Y'all, when it comes to our children, we are so slowful, and slowfulness is a sin. We've got to be able to be there when the things that matter. Y'all, the closing of the black schools, my home, Escambia Arms, Aragon Projects. We got these Negroes down here on the water. They went away, and now they got $250,000 properties on the water when there was supposedly something wrong with the land over where Escambia Arms was, and there was something down there at Aragon Court. But the closing down about, look, we continue to rant about DeSantis closing out Black history and but they've been shutting us down here in Escambia County for the last 25, 30 years. And we seem to just go along with it. We don't show up for our children. We got these failing schools, and the Black community in a lot of instances are as quiet as a church mouse. But we've got to be involved. We've got to get active. We got to get out and support our brother Benny. And we've got to start supporting our youth a whole lot more than what we do.
You know, just know that the Escambia Democratic Party has they have our full and unwavering support. We have already made our calls, and hopefully we will show up strong in the building on Thursday as well. So rest assured, we're going to do all that we can to make sure that this piece of history is not demolished, and that children can continue to have a place to grow and flourish.
Yes.
Thank you for that. All right, now we have almost about 30 minutes left, but I did want to talk about briefly a couple of things, if we can. Number one, we just saw that South Carolina had their Democratic primary, and surprise, surprise, not really, but Joe Biden came out victorious on that. You know, we did see we had an overwhelming support of folks who turned out. However, they did show about 1/3 of the turnout for the primary this year was about 1/3 of what turned out in the primary for 2020.
4%.
Go ahead.
4%.
Yeah. So with that, you know, I guess the question is, you know, do you all think that this is foreshadowing for what we should experience for the general and primary election, for the primary and general election, or is Biden, does he have room to be concerned, or do you think we'll pull it out?
There's always cause for concern, but I don't think that this is a foreshadowing. I think we will turn out for whatever reason, caucuses and off-year elections, for whatever reason, our community just does not turn out for them. But I know that we are in for the fight of our lives in the next election. Well, just 10 months away, actually. But I believe that we will. I mean, he has always courted Kamala, and he did a fantastic job canvassing South Carolina leading up to Saturday. And they have to continue to do what they're doing. Speaking of their successes, we've got the far right that are calling for Biden to do something at the border, and then when he tries, their leader tells them that they don't want to get anything passed so they can run on election on a failure. If that's just not the most ludicrous thing you ever heard, but that's what they're doing. They've done nothing. And I think that we should pull old boy's pants down and spank his bottom blue in November. And I believe we'll do it. I believe we will. I really do. Because they control the House and has done absolutely nothing. They're in fighting. Mike Johnson is a joke, just as the previous three speakers were. But Biden, when we get busy and start messaging correctly, I believe it may be a contest, but I don't see it being as close as the media would lead you to believe.
I have a question for you, Mr. Bill. When you say spank that boy's bottom blue, to whom are you referring?
Donald John, man.
Oh, but wait. So now, are you now officially conceding that he's going to be on the ballot? Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I was clear on that.
I'm not conceding that he will be the party's nominee. But you remember, now, if you really go back, Brother Derek, a year ago, I told you and the viewers of Our Voices, where we inform, transform, and empower, that I hoped he won the nominee, because I know we can beat him. I told y'all I didn't want the fascists, as Jerry labels him, or the Santa Claus, but that boy didn't have a chance. Florida's governor, and I loved when Finchers pointed to the fact that he ran, and you see how that turned out. But America is not ready for DeSantis. They're not ready for Nikki, and we sure aren't ready to repeat the foolishness that we encountered 3 years ago.
I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted to see if you had wavered on that fact or not. You know,
No. I stand firm.
Checked, but 7 days had passed, so I wanted to make sure.
I think one of the things we have to watch closely, though, is this thing that's going on over in the Middle East, and it's pulling a lot of people. It's heartbreaking for a lot of people to see what's taking place, and it's causing the younger generations disdain about place, and also, well, everybody should be have a righteous indignation about what's going on over there, as far as the babies and all of that that's being bombed. So it should stop, and it should stop immediately. And I'm concerned about that because I've been listening to the younger people when they talk about this thing. And then, it's going to be hard to convince them that they should vote for somebody that's, supporting what is taking place over there. It's going to be hard. But by the same token, we have to also look out for ourselves here. What will be the purpose of letting Trump or get into office at the behest of Joe Biden, who, has some compassion toward the people of this country, but showing a lack of compassion for the Palestinians. And that's a two-edged sword, but we have to look out for our interests here as well. And that means that we got to look out for democracy, because once that's gone, our right to speak is gone. Our right to protest is gone. Our rights to assemble is gone. So, that First Amendment means so much. And by the same token, we have to be understanding that if that comes home to roost, it could happen to us as well. So we have to defend the democracy by, if we didn't defend the symbol of democracy, I would say, it would also help us along the way. It's not a panacea, but at least it will help us protect ourselves from the onslaught of the right wing here in America, because they are just as dangerous, or even more dangerous, because they are calling for people to be crystallized and turned into where the Gaza Strip to be turned into crystal, through nuclear weapons and all of this craziness they're talking. Then there are those who are talking about we should bomb Iran, go into there. So we have to protect ourselves as well. I'm very compassionate and empathetic to the people in the Gaza Strip, but I'm also concerned about us here as well.
Jill, your thoughts?
Bill. I'm just gonna leave what you said alone for a moment and go to the actual question first. So do I think I think that because they knew Biden, I'm gonna hope that because they knew Biden was on the ticket and he was gonna win, that they just stayed home this time. However, I will again go back to, I don't know how loud the bell in the Democratic Party and the NPA party needs to ring for them to know that they just need to go like the Republicans do. Because if we don't, we're going to be in trouble. So what I would say to Bill's statement, I'm just going to completely go over the fact of the whole one part. We're just going to leave all that to the side, act like you didn't say that.
Which part? Which part?
The part that Derek asked you about. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about nobody dropping nobody's nothing. I don't want to go there. What I will say is that I'm concerned that if we don't, so the young people are absolutely, so Jerry, you're right, that what they believe, when you talk to them, that's exactly where they go. They immediately go there. It's that the environment. It's that the environment. It's always that the environment. They really don't see all the rest of it. They're not going to get a check before November 2024. So it's going to take every single one of us actually talking to them and helping them see. But I'm just telling you, our young people, they don't like to see. They like for us to hear them. And so I don't know how we come up with this process where we hear you and we understand, but here, let us paint a picture if the other person gets in office. If we can get to that conversation in 30 seconds or less, because you got to talk to them fast, I think we'll be okay. If not, I'm just concerned. I guess I'm more than concerned because whether you like what is in the news or you don't like what's in the news, what we just showed in a place where we should have had outpouring, what should have happened is instead of sitting back and saying, oh, he's the only one there, he's going to win anyway, is that we should have came out and shocked them, because that's what they would have done. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? That's what they would have done. We never surprise anybody. We just do what we do. And so I'm hoping that there is a fundamental, I don't know, put it in the milk, put it in the chicken, put it somewhere where people could drink it or eat it and get ready. I don't know, Christina, I don't have an answer.
You leave my chicken alone now.
I'm trying to put it somewhere, something everybody has. They drink milk, they eat chicken. I don't know. I'm trying. And I want to stay as positive as you can be, but still in the reality of what we're dealing with.
It's kind of hard when you
4% is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. And usually they say you practice. So you practice in your presidential preference primaries. Isn't that what this is called, Christina? I'm learning myself. And then you, in the primary, you're supposed to be practicing to go so that in November everybody gets out. So let's just hope this was just they're holding a secret because they don't want them to know what's really in South Carolina, so that when the election comes, they're going to come out in droves and the bell is going to ring and we're all going to just go. Vote by mail, I would strongly suggest if this is where we're going to be at, then we need to push it more than ever.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jill, but you have to, I mean, they went as far as to make this thing on a Saturday so people wouldn't have the work excuse or what have you, but it's kind of hard to tell a people that has been told by the media that your guy has won. That's why I think it's so important for us to keep reminding the people that it's not the way the media says it is. Because if we listen to the media, Trump is a foregone conclusion and he is still the president. So we, on formats like this, have to let the people know that it's not a foregone conclusion. we will win this. We will get out. We will rock the vote, and Biden will be the next president of the United States. We've got to do it and say it, because I promise you, the media is subliminal, but they embed in our very consciousness that Democrats ain't no sense in y'all even when they're polling right-wing Republicans, and keep on harping on these polls. I say it time and time again. So we've got to be the voice to say that it's not a foregone conclusion. Don't believe the media. I'm talking about ABC, CBS, and NBC, the ones that I know people are getting. I'm not talking about those CNNs and the Fox News where just people that are privy to cable. I'm talking about the people that are in the trenches fighting, working hard every day to watch the local news, the major news networks on their local TVs, and they're popping it out there, man. Every time you turn it on, they're saying that, telling us what the polls are, and subliminally stagnating us into believing that there's no use. They say this guy's going to win anyway. That's a lie.
I'm going to let Christina go, but before she does, Bill, I would share this with you. You're talking about people all of our ages that are watching that. People younger than us, all of us, they're on TikTok, they're on that kind of social media, and that social media is telling them, is playing to their strength, which is, this is all Biden's fault. This is this. That's what they're hearing, and that's what they're believing. So if you really believe what you said, then it's not going to be TV that's going to do this.
You know, I think the algorithms have them set to get more of what they watch and like on. So if our young people are watching and liking on that, yeah, they're getting more of that. But those are not the algorithms that I get. I get anti-Trump sentiments constantly. So
on your TikTok,
on my TikTok, my Instagram, wherever I visit social media, the algorithms are set. So if our young people are in that mode where they watch anti-Biden sentiments, yes, that's what they get, but not necessarily the case. But I do agree wholeheartedly that younger generation, they are getting a lot of their politics and decisions from social media. I agree wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Christina.
So I would say a couple of things. One, in South Carolina, Biden wasn't the only person on the ticket. So it was 3 people on the ticket. You had Biden, you had Representative Dean Phillips, and Marianne Williamson. Those were the 3 people on the ticket for South Carolina. Biden took home 90% of the vote. So and a little bit higher than that, but 96% of that, only 4% of the state came out. The 4% is alarming, but I just wouldn't count that as what we're going to see when we get to the general election. When we get to the general election, I believe it's going to be much, much higher. But folks sitting out is always the biggest scare that we as Democrats have. It's not that we didn't get the message out. It's not any of those things. It's, have we done our job enough? And sometimes it is messaging, but have we done our job enough to make sure that all of us and all of our neighbors are collectively voting? And that's the main thing. I don't think this one vote can really foretell that. The primary votes are always going to be smaller. This is one of the smallest that has ever come out in South Carolina, and we're definitely hoping for bigger. So yeah, I mean, it'll be different. I know, like I said, in Santa Rosa County, when it comes time for the presidential preference, Biden has already won. So we don't have 3 people on our ballot like they did in South Carolina. And so Biden has already won that. That was decided at the Florida Democratic Party convention. So that's what moves forward for Democrats. The Republicans in Santa Rosa County will have a slate to choose from. And that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's hopefully people do turn out for the general election, and maybe some kind of way that, you know, the Biden administration, along with the Democrat Party and everybody else, can get the word out and get it down to the rank and file, especially a younger generation. And there are people who are the same age I am, or disenchanted by what they see, and they are, you know, it's not just them. I am too, you know. But I understand that we have to protect ourselves as well. Here, you know, we've been through too much to allow somebody to turn this country into a dictatorship without us fighting. At least put up a good fight for it. It is coming upon us, because, you know, once a country turned to dictatorship, they have people set aside to do all kinds of stuff. They can come and take you home, everything they want. You see what's happening over there. And it can, you know, I mean, these things actually happen where people can come and take everything you own, you know, and put you out in the street, everything you work for. And so we have to make sure that everybody knows what the possibilities are.
And so going around the country, I've definitely seen that, especially with young folks. I've got, you know, 2 kids in school in California. The protests have been going on constantly on their campuses. One thing I would say is not voting for Biden gives Trump leverage. And so whatever disenchantment you have with the Biden administration, I promise you, Trump is not going to make any of that any better, and will be 100 times worse. So it is really, really, really important to, you know, make sure to vote. It's, you know, voting is not a marriage. Voting is not, I absolutely love everything that this person does. It's the person that gets you the closest to where you want to get. And I can guarantee you Trump is not that. And staying home is giving your vote away. It's giving your voice away. So it is so, so, so important to get to the polls. In Florida, we will have 3 elections. We have the presidential preference primary, we have our regular primary, and then we'll have the general election. So we have to get out, we have to vote, and it's super, super important to make sure our voices are heard, even if we feel some kind of way about something. Again, this is not a love letter to a person in charge. This is making sure that our voices are heard, that our country is moving in the right direction, and that our children have a future. Because otherwise, we won't have a democracy. It won't be here tomorrow. And we make that known at the ballot box.
So I agree, Christina, and I got Biden's email that he sent today. So this is what he said. So Americans must take Donald Trump at his word. When he promises repeatedly to rule as a dictator on his first day in office, Trump is running to force his extreme unpopular agenda on the American people, and being a dictator is how he'll do it. These aren't empty threats. His record of trying to overthrow elections and relentless encouragement of political violence speaks for itself. He's made clear that if elected again, he'll use the government to punish his political opponents and take every possible step to undercut our democracy. The stakes of this November election could not be any higher, and President Biden will continue to fight every day to protect our democracy from Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans who are hell-bent on lighting our Constitution on fire for their personal gain. So he's trying.
Absolutely. Just want to say,
they've got the right message. I just don't know how. I think what Christina said is, and maybe don't vote for Biden, but vote against Trump, vote against dictatorship, vote against losing everything. So then they don't have to necessarily like everything about Biden, but you just got to know that Trump in office would be detrimental to everyone. They won't have, whatever it is they think that they don't like about Biden, it'll be a million times worse with Trump.
And we have to protect our interests as well as people, fellow in this country. We have to protect our interests. Of course, we fight for other people around the world, but if we are not fighting to protect ourselves here, we'll become the loser, you know, and people are not going to come to our rescue like we often do. They're just not going to do it. And we see the benefit, I mean, the residual effect of what is happening, even, you know, after all these years that we've lived in America, centuries, and we still getting, you know, the abuse of white supremacy. And the thing about it, we have to protect ourselves as much as possible, because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for us. We have to do it.
The way I see it is that it's not about Biden and Trump for this election. It's about democracy versus the dictatorship. If you want to live in a democracy, then you're going to have to come out and vote for democracy, which Joe Biden represents. And everybody knows that what would happen if Trump, you know, were to be reelected again. And so there's no question about it. But you know, the problem that we have is that the American voters are not as educated and sophisticated as we should be. We vote based on popularities, likability, and you know, they don't care. I sit there and listen to, because I follow this stuff pretty close. I sit there and listen to a lot of the sound bites of Trump's speeches. He never put out any policy stuff. Okay, it's just retribution stuff and just nonsense stuff that he put out, and I don't, and I find it really hard to understand why people get sucked into. He says a lot of things that people like to hear. You know what I'm saying? And he got a certain amount of charisma, and he got this same kind of charisma that Ronald Reagan had, but in a different way. Ronald Reagan, people like Ronald Reagan because Ronald Reagan, he was funny. You know, he tell jokes and stuff. Like he was relatable. I think that's my point. He's relatable. A lot of people can relate to Trump even in a weird way, and so I'm afraid that they will try to vote for him because of that. I know we're running out of time, Jerry. I saw you looked at the watch. Me too, because we only got about 2 minutes left, so I want to turn it back over.
Okay, I'm gonna do these books real quick because it is Black History. I'm gonna just do one. It's Blacks. I've talked about it before. Blacks Invented Everything. It is a great book to read because it goes way back into the inventions, all the way back thousands of years ago. So it's really a good book. I'm gonna turn it back over to Derek.
Jerry, Derek, somebody make sure you tell our viewers so that we won't be here Sunday. So watch your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Your team wins.
Or do whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah, some of us.
Everybody ain't watching.
No, Joe, we're not telling anybody to watch the Super Bowl. What we will share is that if you missed the Florida House Minority Leader, Representative Pinterest Driscoll, who appeared on our show last week, you will have the wonderful and exciting privilege of being able to see that show again next a week from today. It is going to repeat, and as Mr. Bill suggested, it was an absolutely phenomenal discussion. If you've never heard Representative Driscoll speak, it is it's not this time would be the time to do so. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of our viewing audience for tuning in with us tonight for another successful show of Our Voices. Thank you to all of the hosts, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great night, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.